Okay. All right, we got that. We're going to record and process. Oh, Mikey.
There he is. He's in his stripes in front of a striped flag. It's a wonderful day. Are you a Oregon Duck today, Vinnie, or what is the significance of your flag? That's Earth Day.
Yeah, today's Earth Day, Michael.
But you know what tomorrow is?
No.
Record Store Day.
Oh, it's tomorrow Record Store Day?
And I brought something to warm the cockles of your evil heart.
Well, first let me say good morning. He's Michael Knight, and he's in, where the hell is he?
I'm in California. He's in Washington. In fact, it rained here last night. It rained for 3 hours last night out of nowhere. How weird. But to make you
for 3 hours here last hour.
For the Earth Day that we're celebrating today, because we do live on planet Earth, there's another day tomorrow called Record Store Day on our planet Earth.
Which I
and
love.
This is a CD that I bought several years ago at a Record Store Day, and it is Yo Frankie by Dion DiMucci, and it's in my collection. I didn't have to look hard for it. It's right up in the power rotation. And the reason I bring it to your attention is Dion is in and out of fashion many times. Now his show is running in New Jersey in prelims before it goes to New York. And I bring this to your attention because you should go tomorrow to a record store of your choice in your neighborhood and just buy one thing. It can be a t-shirt, it can be guitar picks, it can be a sticker, it can be something you can just walk in and wander around. Tell me that you've wasted your time when you're done with it. Yeah. Convince me that when you were done walking around that record store, you say, why did I come here? This is a useless place. Nothing fun ever happens here. The music here is substandard. You'll never come to that conclusion when you walk into a record store, because you walk into a record store surrounded by people who love music and know more about it than you do. So learn something, buy something, keep them alive, keep them a part of your community, so that when you really need one, there will be a record store in your neighborhood. And you would think, well, hey, Vinnie lives in Seattle. Of course, there's always going to be a record store there. Hold on.
It's
not that easy. It's not that easy.
You can pass down the street and see plenty of storefronts that have where record stores used to be that now are Jamba Juices or some kind of insane stuff. No. Don't for 1 minute think that the record store is going to last forever, because it's not. Some way, somehow. And we've seen the record store go from its heyday as a center of community
and culture,
where people would go and hang out. And I know I worked at a record store from the time I was 13 years old until I left New York.
And you learned something about
on and off.
You learned something about the record business when
I learned something about the record business. I learned something about life. I worked for a guy named Bob Skinardi.
Good name.
Yeah, great name. We worked at a record store that was first Record Spectacular, and then he got into trouble with the tax people, and so he rented. He had a closed Record Spectacular, so he moved everything across the street and opened up a new store called Record Room. And the great thing about Record Room was that it used to be Michigan's drugstore. How appropriate this was. And in the foyer, there was a tiled floor with an RX on the floor. And it was so appropriate for this place. I first stumbled into Record Spectacular when I was in junior high school, probably 6th grade, and walked up to 82nd Street, and my brother and I, my Freddie, my soul, he's been gone so long, but his older brother worked in the record store with a bunch of other guys, Donnie and Frank Siri and Joey Bryce and all these other guys. They all worked in the record store. Downstairs was like the record store warehouse. And so they were the older guys in the neighborhood. We were the younger guys, and they were training us. They were training us to take over their spots. And it was such a zoo. I remember
What label?
recording-
Yeah, like what label was Don and Donna on? If you don't know who Don and Donna's label was, you can't play here.
Oh, we used to play Name That Tune.
Yeah.
Later on, when we were Record Room, I got to actually work retail. I would go in the store. I would work on Sunday morning. And we would play. I worked with this guy, Rob McKenna, this other guy, Frankie. And we would play Name That Tune. We would go into the oldies. You had the chart records that were up on the wall, the 45s that went to the oldies.
Right.
And you'd pull out of the greens, they called them. And because the sleeves were green and they had the name of the record on it. And when you sold one, you put it in a certain place and you could order, that record to, be replenished in the greens.
Absolutely
And
perfect.
so we used to pull from the greens every Sunday morning and play Name That Tune. And it was so much fun because it really sharpened up your musical knowledge. I several times have talked about Bill Skinardi, who was Bob's cousin and was the guy who really gave me my appreciation of Sinatra and artists of that ilk, because he was a 50s kind of greaser guy who had, adopted somewhat to the suave 60s.
He knew from
hair was all in place, and he was handsome, and he was a charmer, and he would talk to all the ladies, and he had it, and you wanted to have what Bill had if you were in the 60s.
Would you mind if I had a little of that, please?
Yeah, I'll take some of that because that looks groovy to be that kind of personality. And when Bill passed away many years ago, I actually did an obituary to him. I did a piece where I talked about Bill and what his influence was, not just on me, but on so many of us that grew up in Jackson Heights in the 60s and the 70s. Now, Bob, who was the owner, along with this other guy, Ronnie, they were, they were busy running things. Bob was a guy who was, he had people around. Let's just say he knew a lot of people.
He knew some folks.
And he had a wholesale business, a jobber business, a rack thing. And
was he what they call a rack jobber?
He was, he was a rack jobber. He did if it had anything to do with records, he did it.
Did he do any promotion?
No. It was all
retail.
It was all retail and wholesale. And again, we as kids always hung out there. That was, it was on 82nd Street, which was the street that we hung out. And it was just this place where we all came together. We all hung out with each other. We all had little jobs that we did for the record store. I remember in probably about 67 or 68. Yeah, it was 67. We helped them build the head shop downstairs.
Yeah, there you go. Now you're staying even with the times.
For about a year after school, a couple of days a week, my job was sitting downstairs in the head shop, putting together hash pipes.
Vinnie, they're not going to put themselves together. Someone's got to do this job.
You had to assemble the hash pipes. And it was just, Mikey, it was so great. It was such a great time. I'm still in touch with the owner. Bob passed away several years ago. He used to come out to California and visit. When I go back, I'd see him. I'm still in touch on a pretty much a weekly basis with his daughter, who was, 12 years old at the time I met her, 13 years old, something like that. And it's funny, I'm trying to find a picture of the place. I have a picture of it somewhere on my computer. And
of you putting together hash pipes?
No. I have a picture of me of the store.
Well,
but anyway, I'll see if I can find it, stick it in here somewhere. It was really
LA has got so many great stores right now. Not a lot, but we still have Amoeba in Hollywood.
Yeah. One of the most. They're still going to San Francisco too, right?
And Berkeley. as far as I know. There's still 3 stores.
What was the store that was there before in Berkeley? Rasputin.
Rasputin was a tough guy. He hung out with the Ruskies, and so he came to a nasty end.
And yeah, and you know, record stores got a bad rap because when you got to the bigger record stores, the larger retailers, the Towers and the Record Worlds and Sam Goodies and I forget the few of the other ones. What was the big one? Warehouse.
Yeah, Warehouse.
Warehouse.
Licorice Pizza.
There was
Rooks and Beckards.
It was different people that worked at a lot of those places, the bigger ones. It wasn't the warm, loving, wonderful place that Record Spectacular was.
I see you behind the counter, but where are the hipsters? We don't have any hipsters.
Yeah, it turned into a bunch of kind of self-proclaimed hip, cool people. And
they couldn't order the records. They were all ordered for them.
Yeah. Everything by that time, everything was done by a district manager or maybe later even a computer. And it really, Michael, you go into Tower and you would, if you asked somebody something, it would be like an attitude you would get. There would be like this kind of, oh, you're not as cool as us type of attitude. So what are you even doing here?
Like I know the answer, but I'm not going to tell you.
Right. I mean, we've all run into that person in a record store.
But one of the most helpful people I've ever found was in the jazz and classical section of Tower Records, which was right here in Pasadena. Now it's a drugstore, my drugstore.
Yeah, really.
And the guy knew everything, and he was more than happy to impart his lifetime of knowledge when it came to Bizet or Beethoven or Miles Davis. He knew it all, and he was just waiting for somebody to ask him because he knew, because he actually had the answer, and that was a beautiful thing to witness. And that's what a record store should be.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of changed, but there's also, it's changed certainly from what it was back in the 60s, because it was also, look, it was a record store. It was a place where people met up and talked about events that were going on, as well as going to a baseball game. My favorite thing with my friend Murray, who passed late last year. Hey, Murray, what are you doing? You want to go to the Mets game? Yeah, I meet you at the record store. Hey, what are you doing? Hey, you want to take a ride into Manhattan? Yeah, I meet you at the record store.
One of the things that I have mentioned is some of the record stores around LA, but those aren't where I'm going. To celebrate Record Store Day, I'm going right to Colorado Boulevard here in Pasadena, where Canterbury Music has held forth since the 1950s. Still privately owned, still run by the original guys who ran it. There is a hipster behind the counter who's older than I am. He will sell you phonograph needles, stickers, rolling papers, and the best music that he can find. And he knows it all. You look at this guy and you go, what does he know? What can this guy possibly know? Well, ask him something and you're going to get yourself a full answer. And I don't know what I'm going to buy. And it doesn't really matter. It's symbolic of the whole reason for Record Store Day. When we hold Record Store Day next year and there are no record stores, don't blame me. Blame yourself that you can't go in and buy Dion DiMucci's Hey Yo Frankie. I almost said Yo Vinnie. Well, yeah. Yo Vinnie, here's Yo Frankie.
It's boy, it just had such great memories of that. So remember, we had not too long ago, what was it, 2 years ago? Maybe a little more than that, maybe 3 years ago, we had a reunion. We all got together at Katz's Delicatessen.
Whoa, now we're talking.
Because the Colony had long closed. And Billy's son, Bill, Lisa Skinardi, Howie, who was, the guy, I guess you would call him the main clerk of the store, redhead Howie, Hank, who knew everything about music. You couldn't throw anything by Hank. Hank knew everything.
Who recorded Mule Skinner Blues, Hank?
He wouldn't even tell you. He wouldn't only tell you who recorded it. He'd tell you who was sitting in the studio smoking a doob when it was happening. All of the different, and then who else did we have? We had a few other people, Joey Tomasello, who was one of the guys in my era. And we all got together at Cats, and we all had a great time just shooting the crap with each other. Howie probably is the guy who changed the least. He works still to today in a video rental store. It must be the last one left in Manhattan. And he works there. And I think so. He's been doing this. I mean, listen, everybody's got a lot of, side hustle going too, but they were such wonderful times. And not only that, I think Tuesday was record day, if I'm not mistaken. I think Tuesday was the day that records were released. Yeah, or maybe it was Wednesday, I forget. But on that day, you wanted to be. One of my most vivid memories of being a kid was being at the record store when the Beatles' White Album came out. Freddie and I went from school up to 82nd Street. We were there when the boxes came in with the White Album. When it came out, we each got one.
With the right kind of number.
With the number, and we ran back to school. And you want to talk about being the coolest kid in school.
You had the numbered album. You had it.
Walked around in 1968 with the album that nobody else has. With the album that everybody's waiting for. We forget how much we used to wait for records in those days.
So you could hear Glass Onion.
Yeah, but everything, not just Beatles records. I mean, when an artist, a popular artist, was going to release a record, it was, and I'm talking about Stones, Beatles, blah, 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 that category in the 60s. I mean, there were people that waited up at the record stores. Now you just go on a computer and download it, and that's it.
Or if a local band got a deal and their first record finally came out, that was a huge item to have.
We used to get our rock and roll tickets at record stores.
Yep.
Everybody remembers going to, because even before there was Ticketmaster, and what was it? What was it in the Bay Area? Bay Area Bass.
Yeah, Bass.
Yeah, BASS, Bay Area Seating Service, or something like that. Before there were the individual promoters used to sell. If you wanted a ticket for the Beatles at Shea Stadium, you went to a record store.
Also, if you saw the poster for the weekend for Avalon or the Fillmore, at the bottom, it would list the record stores and bookstores where you could buy tickets for the show.
Mikey, I take that back. For the Beatles, and this is so weird, I remember this. It just hit me as I said it. For the Beatles, you went to the Singer sewing machine store.
Did Sid Bernstein own it?
He must have had a piece of it or something. That's where you got your tickets for the Beatles.
Or Steinway and Company. Yeah.
And just like it was another weird thing, you used to get you buy advance tickets for the Mets at the manufacturer's Hanover Bank.
Whoa, they had a piece of it too.
You had to go to the bank to get tickets. And you could go to the venue, I guess. I guess they had a ticket office there, but if you wanted to buy tickets, they had them at the bank.
We're selling them in your neighborhood at Books and Records.
Right. Yeah, I'm glad there's still record stores around. I celebrate record stores. I especially love the places like we have here in Seattle, over on the west side, over in West Seattle, which is a great record store, Easy Street Records, which has a record store and a cafe.
Good idea.
Go there, have breakfast. They carry both used and new records, because we do have to mention the great used record stores where you get a bargain on vinyl. Now that whole thing has gone up.
Or you make a great discovery.
Yeah, you make a great discovery, you find. But you also, I used to love to cruise the dollar bins.
Of course, you better look.
Because you never know what you'd find, number one. And number two, you discovered music.
Yep. And for $1, let's take a chance.
Yeah, it was that version of I keep thinking about Record Spectacular, and I keep going back to these crazy things that one of my first cars, the record store had a blue 69 Chevy van with windows.
That had windows.
That's what Joey Bryce used to do the deliveries in. It was a 69 Chevy van with a 3-speed on the column stick. And boy, it was beat up, man. I mean, it got hit, it got this. My father, used to fix it for Bill, for Bob. So finally they get ready, they're going to get a new van. So I had just gotten my driver's license. So I says, how much you want for it? And he says, give me $50. So now I get this 69 Chevy van that used to belong to the record store.
Your dad has to fix it again.
Back immediately as I was cleaning it out, I found a half a lid of pot stashed under the seat.
Your lucky day, Vinnie.
So I got my money right back. And we used to pile into this van, and everybody knew it as the record store van. And we go and get in this thing and take trips to Long Island. We go to the parks. We go everywhere in this thing. It didn't look good, but had one window missing. We couldn't find a window for it. But it was the old record store van. It was the people that you met, and plus, it was great for getting girls because we used to get a discount.
And you could get 10 girls into the van.
You want to impress, a girl at the time, tell her you can get $2 off on a $4.98 record. Now you're making some headway. They don't care if you're president of the United States. They don't care if you march for peace, for war. You can get me $2 off on that brand new Joni Mitchell record. Let's go.
Let's talk. Yeah, we have a deal.
Let's be friends. Oh, Mikey. I have so many fond memories.
How about Village Music in Mill Valley? You remember that one?
Oh,
John's place.
I used to buy a lot of my baseball music there. I, for some reason, found, people probably know this, but I collect baseball music about baseball, written by so on and so forth, written by players, and for some reason, I used to cop a lot of music.
Well, John had all the rarities.
Yeah, he had a lot of, just stuff that I don't know that necessarily he was a fan of it, but
he just knew the value of it. That's all.
Yeah, he knew the value, and he knew that it was a great thing to have. And I used to go up there and find it from him and buy it from him.
One of the things that I always learned to do is, you're in shopping at John's store, Village Music, now gone from Mill Valley. You had to keep your eye on the door to see who was coming in and out of the place, because I was there once when Nick Lowe and all the Fabulous Thunderbirds were in there shopping for music. You had to keep your eye open because all the pros came to buy their music there, or to search for something new.
Gene Simmons was a regular in Record Spectacular because he grew up in Jackson Heights. So, I always have. Matter of fact, I interviewed him once when we were at KRQR.
I remember that.
And I asked him, I said, we talked about growing up in Jackson Heights a little bit. And I said, you used to get your records at Record Spectacular. He says, oh, yeah, that was an influence on Kiss, that store.
Sure.
That store molded my musical prowess. It was amazing.
Well, that's how you got your education. It was easier when you looked at the LPs as opposed to CDs because they wrote more on the LP. So without buying the LP, you could go through and learn all the new sidemen, all the studio musicians, all the producers, all the studios, all the locations for where the record was done, who wrote the songs, who's new, what's the publishing company. all the influences on them. That you knew if you saw a certain label that you were going to get a certain product. I was particularly hot for Atlantic Records because they just had so many wonderful artists, and you could rely on them. And if there was a jazz album that you never heard of, you take a chance on Atlantic anyway because it was Nestle Erdogan. You knew that he had put his life and life's blood into the production. And that sort of knowledge you could only pick up by reading your way through a record store. And that's what I used to do a lot of.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that was part of it too, is I remember that at one point, Mikey, I used to know the numbers. Every record has a number on the side.
Yeah.
You used to have to put them in. And I could tell you that Atlantic was 3942 / boom, boom, boom. And Electro was blah, 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 blah. There was a number on the side. You started to know the records by the numbers,
right?
Which was always great. Now I put this one photo up behind us because, and I'll move out of the way, because I certainly want you to see it.
San Francisco Examiner, the monarch of the dailies.
There is a photo of me in front of the record factory.
Oh.
After just getting, as you can see the headlines say there, ticket sale nightmare for fans of the boss. I wound up on the front page of the San Francisco Examiner as a photographer came by and talked to us, and a reporter came by and talked to us about our horrid experience of camping out all night. Of which I said, hey, it's a bunch of Springsteen fans hanging out together. What was so bad about it?
Well, I remember the press conference that Bill Graham held after that, because there was such a hoopla over the fact that Springsteen came to town and no one could buy tickets. So where the hell did all the tickets go? And Bill Graham took the heat, but it really wasn't his fault. The ticket selling industry was changing right before our eyes.
Well, yeah, and I think you had a ton of people that worked at the record stores that figured out how to get in there early and get themselves however many tickets and then resell them.
Absolutely.
I think that was something that plagued record stores for many years. And I don't think that's ever going to change. Although it has changed, I think, a lot.
I'd like to know what Reagan's proposal to the Soviets was, because we're going to have to send him a proposal here one of these days.
Yeah, well, we need Reagan back. Where's Reagan when we need him? All right, let me show you this. This is, can you see that picture?
I do.
So
there we are at Katz's.
Yes, here we are at Katz's, and here is the crew from the record store. So next to me over here, you have Howie. That's me. That's Hank. That's Joey T. That's Bill Skinardi, Billy's son. That's Lisa, and that's Linda Lou. All of us former record store workers.
They call my baby Patty, but her real name is Linda Lou.
Linda Lou, baby. And we held a reunion 2017 it was. That's right. September 18th, 2017. We got together down at Katz's, and we're throwing stories around. And for those of you who've never been to Katz's, you can notice right here that everybody
is on the wall.
Everybody is drinking a Dr. Brown's because it's the official drink of New York Judaism. And of course, Mikey, you know me. I'm a man of food value. Okay, so take this down, and here we are again, right here in front of me.
Yeah, Dr. Brown, how have you been?
Dr. Brown's, the best doctor there is.
That's black cherry.
That's diet black cherry. Yes.
Beautiful. Well done. I would go for ginger ale or black cherry anytime.
Yeah. Well, you know what? I'm a big fan and I never used to like this when I was a kid, but I'm a big fan of the cream soda.
Well, the one I could never drink was Celery. I go, why did they come up with this? What the hell was that? What's the idea behind this?
Well, it's people believe that it is, people believe that it has health properties to it, that it's healthy to drink. I don't know why they do believe that, but that's how originally, I guess, it was sold.
Pardon me for eating.
No, go ahead, knock yourself out. But
It's from Pete's Coffee, maple note scone.
Oh, Mikey, I sincerely hope.
Salute.
Let it just sit there. I sincerely hope, as you said before, that everybody gets to a record store tomorrow and yeah, buy something. Even if you buy one of the little things that go in the middle of the 45s.
Yeah, or a button that says nonconformist.
Or remember when, we used to sell buttons in the record store in a 68, 69.
Of course.
Everybody was wearing a button. We had a big, cabinet with buttons. Here's I should pump this up. When the record store moved across the street to in its new configuration
to the record room.
Where'd you go? All right.
I want to see a picture of Vinnie in 1967.
You want to see a picture of me in 1967?
Working in the record room, yeah, or someplace.
I don't have one readily available for 1967 from the record store. Now let's see if this comes up. Does that look like a record store bag out there?
Yep, we got
That's
it.
the record room.
Jackson Heights.
I saved that bag.
3744 82nd.
Yep. I saved that bag for years. And a couple of years ago, I sent it to his daughter. I had this bag, a t-shirt, and a phonograph needle box that had record room on it. And I sent them to Lisa. And it was look at that. And I love it because you got on the bottom, you have posters, black lights, t-shirts, novelties, gifts, and incense. Albums, 8-track tapes, cassettes, quad.
If you don't know what disco is, don't bother asking about quad.
Yeah, really. If you love disco, you'll love quad. But it was, again, it's another. Now there's, I have another picture somewhere here.
Not everybody took quad seriously, but I saw a group that did, named Pink Floyd. And
yes,
they mixed their concerts in quad.
Did not, correct me if I'm wrong, but did not also Emerson, Lake and Palmer?
I never saw them live, so I couldn't tell you, but it wouldn't surprise me.
Oh, live. It was definitely something weird because I saw them live at Roosevelt Stadium in Jersey City. And it was easily the best sounding and the weirdest sounding concert I had ever gone to.
Well, Pink Floyd
was bouncing off places and set up in different places that you just would never believe. All right, here is
Pink Floyd would do the room whirl. They'd send the signal all from this speaker to that speaker to that speaker. So, whoop, knocked my camera.
That happens.
They were serious about it. They said, we're not going to do quad if we can't blow your mind a little bit.
All right, I'll give you, let's see, I'll give you this one. You'll enjoy this. So this is.
Oh, we've seen this before.
Yeah, this is me at, I don't know, 11 years old, 12 years old.
And
it's Paul Krasner, Louis Abelafia. Handbills for Louis Abelafia for president on the nude party. I don't know who the dude is in the middle. I don't know who the dude is in the background or the dude is on the right. Although the dude in the middle, the black dude standing in the back of us, looks awful familiar to me. And I just don't.
Paul Krasner was a weekly guest on my show when we had the talk show in Palm Springs, if you remember.
Yes. Yeah, he was one of those guys, man. He was one of those, he was mad about everything, but knew how to put it into words.
Yep. He lived in Palm Desert.
It's a nice place out there, Palm Desert, isn't it?
It's in the desert. It's warm. It probably rained there last night, maybe, but this weekend it's going to be the big concert, Coachella.
Coachella. Oh, that's in Palm Desert.
Well, it's not far from there.
Now that's a place to.
It's in Indio, California, to be absolutely exact.
That's a good place to maybe retire. You get to this age, you start to think about places to retire, right?
If you want to retire in the desert, that would be it. It's a dry heat, and it's if you like it when it's 106 and then 107 the next day, you're in the right place.
And
I like the heat.
Palm Springs, right?
Yes, it is.
Excuse me. From what I understand, Palm Springs can get quite expensive.
It can be pricey in a hurry, just like all of Southern California.
Well, I got to tell you, there's not a black cherry soda that's better than Dr. Brown's.
Dr. Brown means business.
Somehow they have figured out how not to screw this stuff up. When you drink a lot of other diet black cherries, especially, the taste is just different. I remember when I was growing up, we used to drink Hoffman black cherry. And Hoffman had little pieces of cherry in it.
No.
Oh yeah, it had little. They used to have Hoffman, and then they had an orange soda called Jaffa or something like that, that reportedly, according to the advertising, had oranges from Israel in it. And it was, Hoffman soda was aimed clearly at the Jewish community. They're kosher for Passover and everything like that. But yeah, they had a flavor, an orange flavor that had little pieces of orange, and a black cherry that had little pieces of black cherry in it.
Or so we were led to believe.
It was, it could have been later on when I worked at the Hoffman plant.
Oh no!
College Point, I found out what those little pieces of little pieces may have in reality been.
Whatever happened to Billy, your pet mouse? He's a piece.
Well, any questions you never want to ask, Michael, when you work at a factory.
Whatever happened to Billy the mouse?
What happens to the rats that are usually around the river? And I remember somebody answered me and said, the New York City law health department allows you to have 0.0.2 or 3 or something like that of rat remains in the soda.
We don't call them rat remains. We call it protein.
Call it fresh fruit. But it shocked me just to know that 0 was not the number.
No, 0 is not the number. It's more than 0.
That 0 was not even close to the number. It was like, my God.
How many pieces of rat feet can we have in the? Oh, we have an answer for that. You can't get the answer to anything. Like, who was the first man to step on the moon? Nobody knows. Don't even ask. But rat parts in your drink. Oh, we got an answer for you. 0.0346.
Oh man, and you know what? The crazy thing is, it hasn't stopped me from drinking soda, because I figure there's some crap in everything.
Oh yeah.
And
in fact, there's even crap in baseball. I have a test for you.
Okay. I'm bad at
you may have seen this. You'll probably pass. Junior college baseball game where the home run hitter knocks one over the fence into right center field. As he's crossing second base, the pitcher gives him the stink eye. As he rounds third, the pitcher from the mound that just gave up the home run tackles him in the third base line, and the bench is empty. They let him score later, and the pitcher's thrown out of the game. My question is, what state allowed this to happen?
Well, there's only two possibilities here.
Yep, you're right.
Really, there's two states.
I would have guessed Florida and been wrong.
Yeah, I would either go with Florida or Texas.
We have a winner.
And I'll go with Texas.
We have junior college in Texas. Yep.
And tell me it was some kind of Christian university on top of it, some kind of religious school.
They could never get the accreditation, but now that they have a violent baseball team, they can be Christians. So it's the junior college Christians. They just renamed themselves. They were the Thunderbolts. Now they're the Christians.
Oh Lordy, is that the one where I just saw it on kind of on without watching the story? Is that the one where the guy came off the mound, he just went across and tackled the guy?
He sure did. He blindsided him.
Well, I saw that years ago, Mikey, when I was in Pittsburgh. Mike Tomlin, the head coach of the Pittsburgh Steelers, some guy's I forget what the other team was, but somebody's running up the sideline with the ball. They're going to score. And Tomlin sticks his foot out.
What are you going to do?
And trips him. I thought he was going to get fired for that. I really did. I mean, I was like, oh my God, this poor guy. He had a moment of stupidness.
Well, if Woody Hayes didn't get fired for punching the kid on the sideline, Tomlin's not going to get fired for trying to trip him.
Well, the pros are a little bit different, though. I mean, who cares if you punch a kid? You're a teacher. I mean, they don't care anymore. But it was so funny. I was sitting there watching it. He just sticks his foot out, his leg out, and just trips the guy. And like the whole place is like, it's a home game. Everybody's laughing. Everybody thinks it's funny, but this poor guy had a momentary lapse of reason. And, now he realizes what he did. Oh my God. Now he's realizing, oh my God, I just ruined my career.
All for a run back.
But he stopped him.
Well, I want to congratulate your New York Mets, because it required Gabe Kapler, the manager of the Giants, to ask that famous question once posed by Casey Stengel. Can anybody here play this game? And the answer was, we're working on that, Skip.
Boy, oh boy. It was
ugly.
Yeah. Maybe it's
you win three out of four, it's ugly.
Yeah, maybe it was the day games. I don't know. I don't know what happened there with the Giants, but
the Mets, they got another outfielder hurt. Yeah.
I'm also going to say, though, that the Mets look unreasonably good.
Pitching and power will do it.
The lowest, I think they have the lowest runs allowed. They have the biggest run differential. They have the lowest runs allowed. The pitching staff is off the charts. Even their like third and fourth starters are pitching like they're Cy Young Award candidates.
Yeah.
They got a slow start. And what I like, and you saw it in the game yesterday. So let's see, it's eke out a base hit. Batter gets up, hits it to the opposite field, moves the runner over
to third,
because the runner keeps going because he's off with the pitch. So they get on, sacrifice, not a sacrifice, but a hit and run. Then they use a sacrifice to get him home. It's like fundamental baseball. It's Buck Showalter baseball.
Billy ball. Yeah. And Buck's in the hospital for some sort of procedure.
Is he? I don't know. I didn't hear.
Yeah. He's okay. It's an elective surgery.
But it's that kind of fundamental baseball. And then, by the way, the guy I forget who it was before him hit a home run. So that, it makes the inning complete. It's a well-balanced offense. Now, again, it's the Mets. Let's visit this on July 4th. Last year they were running away with the division, and all of a sudden halfway through the year, they just all forgot how to play baseball.
It comes up mud.
Yeah. So
well,
Giants,
this is a good time of year to watch some of the best basketball. The playoff games have been really fantastic. Boston and Brooklyn. Boston roughed up their team. They roughed up the Brooklyn Nets. They pushed them around. They took the ball away from them and they sent them home. It was really quite something to see. And the Golden State Warriors have won 3 in a row from Denver, so that's done. Beat them again last night, 118-113. A dramatic finish to the game. Some really great basketball being played right now.
Yeah, I saw Joel Emblett's
Joel Embiid.
Sixers, that basket he sunk, what was it, Thursday night, Wednesday night, maybe.
He's playing great.
And yeah, the Sixers are a team to be contended with.
I'm picking Golden State and Boston. Look out.
I wouldn't mind that at all. I'd be obviously I'll shoot for the Warriors. I'll cheer for the Warriors, but that would be a heck of a series.
When you defend Kevin Durant, you just push him around and take the ball away from him. I'm impressed. And that's what Boston did.
Yeah. Oh well, I gotta say, I don't. Durant. I don't know. It's starting to wind down for him, maybe.
I don't know about that. He had a long way to come back after his surgeries and his recoveries.
Yeah.
You know who's still playing for Denver? Boogie Cousins. Boogie Cousins is still playing.
Is he 85, Boogie?
He's 84 and a half.
I mean, yeah, he's got to be 85 years old, Boogie Cousins. Now, what are you going to tell me next? That why do I forget this? Muggsy Bogues is still playing.
Muggsy still has a step. He's lost a step, but he still has a game. Okay.
Well, he's short, so he doesn't need that step.
He never needed it. He had that step for years. He never used it.
He had that step, and he had a chance to use it, and he did. Then he stopped, and now he is again. So that's all good.
It's like an old quarterback who thought he had a step, and then when he went to use the step, it wasn't there anymore. He had lost that step.
Boy, it's just
today, Marjorie Taylor Greene is going to have to testify down in Georgia. That's going to be fun to watch.
Yeah,
the problem is you have to watch her
because I wanted to talk about her. I wanted to bring her up because I don't know if you're a big podcast guy, but the New York Times has a podcast that they do. Kara Swisher hosts it, and she did it with Jimmy Kimmel.
Oh, yeah.
And I don't know if you know what's going on with Jimmy Kimmel and her.
I do.
But Jimmy told a joke about, to fill our audience in quickly, Jimmy told a joke about Marjorie Taylor Greene, and Marjorie Taylor Greene called the Capitol Police on Jimmy Kimmel, wanted to swear out a warrant or a complaint or whatever, filed a formal complaint about her threatening him because he said, where is Will Smith? She said something stupid, which, I mean, you really need the whole Library of Congress to keep every stupid remark that she said.
What did you think she was going to say?
Yeah. And he said, where's Will Smith when you need him? And I laughed at it. I don't think it was a threat. I don't think that there's an association between Jimmy Kimmel and Will Smith to go to Washington and smack Marjorie Taylor Greene. But she decided, the freaking snowflake that she is, to, oh my God. Oh, he's threatening me. Oh my God. And purely it's a publicity stunt for her.
Sure. Funny that she would call it.
Yeah, she's nothing but, there's a great line in here by Jimmy Kimmel. He says, these people 20 years ago used to get reality shows. Now they're in Congress.
Yes. Worse than you think.
And it really is. I mean, it really gets to that point. I mean, Marjorie Taylor Greene is the freaking honey boo boo of Congress.
She's the product of you don't want to know.
It's the product of our stupidity.
Yeah.
It's a product of that we can't distinguish between people that can help us and people that can entertain us.
She cannot help. She cannot make any situation better.
And she's not very entertaining. And, I mean, I've been sick of Iraq since the beginning. I just, I don't know. I just look at these people like her and Matt Gaetz and Gohmert and Gooper out there in Nevada, and I just we're not getting anything done in this country.
Well, we got Kevin McCarthy as our minority leader. Certainly we can look up to him, even though he lied about what he said about the president before he realized that it was all on tape.
You mean old Kevin Lion Eyes?
Your lion eyes. How's that go? You can't hide your lion eyes.
Hide your lion eyes because your smile has been disguised. Right. I thought by now you'd realize there ain't no way to hide your lion eyes.
Ain't no way, Kevin. And by the way, don't bother because we got the tape.
And you see, that's the thing that gets me because we keep saying stupid. I mean, listen, if you are a public figure, now I'm not going to say we're public figures, but we are, because we decide that we will put our thoughts out on the internet, on a radio show, on different, channels. So you open yourself up. But if you're a public figure, you have to think that there's somebody out there, probably many people, who have nothing to do all day but to hang on to every word that you say.
Categorize it, file it, yeah.
Trying to pull you down, whether you tape it, whether you this, whether you that, no matter how you do it, you're going, they're going to hang on to it until you make a mistake. So how in the world do you say anything on a phone or on a communication or on an email? It's amazing to me how simply these people get caught.
Because they're just fools on a stick is what they are.
I mean, it's the same thing with people with security cameras. Do you not think that if you pee in a parking lot, somebody's going to see it?
We're all going to see it.
We're all going to see it. Because you have a combination now of people that pay for news, and everybody has a cell phone, a security camera, or whatever. So it's almost natural that it's going to happen. And, Marjorie Taylor Greene, see, the problem is they don't care, because every time they do something like this,
they just deny it.
No, they don't even deny it. It raises money for them. People send in, they're like television preachers.
Yeah.
I guess there's not enough television preachers on anymore. So the people who save up their coins have to send their retirement funds to somebody else.
Well, they sent it to us for the Mikey and Vinnie prayer cloth, but that's a separate division of Mikey and Vinnie and Enterprises.
I'm working on that, Mikey. I'm actually working on the prayer cloth. I've actually been in contact with.
It's a beautiful thing that the little baby Jesus is thanking you for.
Somebody can make that for. And by the way, while we're on religion, quickly, because I know we're getting up against the clock here. How can the Pope not decry Vladimir Putin?
He won't do it?
Pope made a speech. He talked all about how horrible things are in Ukraine, and yet he won't go up against Vladimir Putin. He won't specifically name Putin. Now, he certainly named Donald Trump.
Oh, yeah.
Now, I'm not standing up for Donald Trump here, but when the Pope didn't want to see Donald Trump get elected,
he said so.
He said so. He said he's not a man of Christ. He's, all the stuff he said. And I admired him for it. I thought that. So where's your big balls now? Where's your, where's your ability to, now I know that there's some kind of negotiating going on between the Christian Orthodox Church and the Catholic Church. But to me, the Pope not standing up for human rights in not naming what is turning out to be very quickly a modern day Hitler.
Well, the Russian Orthodox Church has been playing ball with the Ruskies since the revolution.
Yeah. I don't know how you allow that to happen.
And
But again,
when they put together a deal that stinks, they just burn some incense. It's a thing.
it's just you know, where do you go to believe in God these days? If you want to believe in God, where do you go?
Well, here's where you don't go. Stay out of church. Okay, just stay out of them.
It's amazing to me. It really is. I mean, it's a person of faith that shakes you. You know, it really does. It's I think if you are at a point where you can't condemn this guy who is committing these atrocities, and make no mistake, it's Putin. It's not his generals. It's not. It's Putin.
He's got a lot of
He'll
luck.
gladly tell you he's doing it.
Happy to do it. He should have done it a week ago.
And he'd do it wherever he could.
And he'll do it again.
We are Michael staring, and I hate to leave us with bad thoughts here on Friday, but we're staring in the face of something horrible.
If we don't stop him, it will never stop.
And
he will not voluntarily do anything on his own. He must be stopped, or it will continue.
And I hate to say this, but it may get a lot uglier and a lot more horrible for us here in the United States.
That might actually get our attention.
Well, Mikey, sometimes these things are sent to us so that we change the course of things.
Change the course of history.
And I don't know. I just look at this at Putin, and I say this guy is nothing but a modern day Hitler. Those people that are going into those graves. He's not as good as was Hitler. At least did it behind closed doors. Here, his Russian troops just going through the streets and shooting people.
They got nothing else to do. They're not fighting their war. They're just fighting individuals.
Horrible. Absolutely horrible.
Vinnie, well, on that note, have a good weekend anyway. I don't care what they say.
Mikey, have a good weekend. We will catch up with you on Monday morning. If the Lord's will and the creek don't rise. Mikey, as I always said, I mean it more this weekend than many others. Peace, love, Manischewitz, baby.
What a wine.
All right, Mikey. You good. Bye-bye.